So, and we have an exercise now to break up this session a bit, so you listen to me for plenty long enough. Organic waste treatment. So this is a case study of bioaerosols. So what happens to municipal waste in Wales is the biodegradable parts of it, the compostable parts of it, so any food waste, including bones, including shells, including any meats, all these food waste products are put into a special bin. They're collected up and they go to one of these organic waste treatment plants. This is basically, if you look at it, just a big sheet of hardcore or tarmac, which you put the waste all in a pile on. And then these composting piles then get turned over. This is open window composting. And as they get turned over, all of the little cell fragments from the organic matter, they are liberated along with any bacteria, which you can imagine are legion. They're in their multitudes, and any fungi, which again are going to be there in their multitudes in these composting piles. And so as you turn them over to aerate them so that the composting process happens, then some of those will be picked up and you will expose your workers to them, but you will also expose these houses. You can see at the edge of the picture they will be blown into the environment which these residents in these houses are living in, and so they're going to start inhaling them. So we've got problems with exposure for workers, but we've also got problems with the exposure to the general public. So we've got a paper for this, just a few notes on this as you start. So as you read through this, the purpose in this exercise is to help you to understand how what might seem relatively straightforward in theory for occupational epidemiological studies it comes across problems, particularly when you're looking at new issues, and these bioaerosols are very much a new issue. We're only starting to look at them, but trying to characterize the risk from these new technologies, these new hazards that you're investigating, it involves an awful lot of question marks, an awful lot of issues that you've got to try to get past. And so you still got to produce the composting, because so you still got to produce the compost. You still got to do the composting because we need to deal with our waste in a safe and sustainable manner, and we can't put too much to landfill. Due to our government's regulations, but also you've got to try to take a risk assessment approach if you're in charge of this composting plant, which would provide a reasonable level of certainty of the safety of the processes that you're undertaking. So you'd be confident that you're not going to be harming the health of your employees, and you're not going to be harming the health of the public. And so we term this the precautionary principle, which is taking action in the face of uncertainty. And if you want, then there's a whole legion of papers you can read on this area. I suggest possibly just finding one useful study. So we're interested in the effects of exposure to organic dust on respiratory health. So fucking thing. So, just a few notes. Aspergillosis is a fungal infection of the lungs. Allergic rhinitis is like itchy respiratory passages such as itchy nose, and asthma I'm sure you're well aware of. Extrinsic allergic alveolitis is farmer's lung. It's a chronic lung complaint which can cause mortality. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is a general catch-all for a series of diseases affecting the lungs. Toxic pneumonitis, and upper airway irritation and mucous membrane irritation are some of the things that bioaerosols are associated with. Just to remind you of the 4 stages to this risk assessment, and have a think about these as you're reading through the paper. So you've got to identify the hazard, so bioaerosols, and the harm that it can cause. So ID how it can affect the health, so the dose-response relationship, how are you going to work this out? And how are you going to work out the exposure, so how much is absorbed or ingested, not only by the employees but also by the public surrounding the facility. And that can help you to characterize the risk and help that then, once you've understood how to do, so we've understood what the risk is, can help you to implement effective control measures. So, consider what information you need to assess the proposed health impact of this organic waste treatment facility. So what I want you to do now is to have a read through the paper.